for the English medium. Welcome to the online education for the English medium organized by the Education Department of Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai. Today, we are having the class for class 9th. The subject we are studying is science. And the topic that we are going to start today is current electricity. Okay, so today we are going to be starting with the chapter and we are going to learn about the concepts of potential difference and electric current. Okay, this is the first session out of the total 6 sessions that we are going to have for this chapter. My name is Vishal Sudhir Chaudhary and I am from the Kudar Village MPS English Secondary School. Okay, so let us start with the topic today, right? So first of all, we will just discuss what all topics and what all content that we are going to be studying in this chapter. Okay, so we are going to learn about the concept of potential and potential difference. Of course, we are also going to learn about the basics of electricity, how exactly electricity works, how does the electrons flow in a circuit, right? And what is the causes of electricity. Then we are going to learn about the concept of free electrons and electric current. Then we are going to learn about a very important concept of resistance and Ohm's law. Then we are going to learn about electric circuit and its components. Then we are going to learn about conductors and insulators and also about resistors in series combination and resistors in the parallel combination, right? So that we are going to study in proper detail. Okay, so let us move on further. And first of all, let us discuss about electricity all around us. Okay, so electricity is of utmost importance to us. Now, if you look around yourself, you must be surrounded by a lot of electrical devices which need a constant supply of electricity to work. Okay, so we depend on it for almost everything in our day-to-day life, right? Now, right now, we are more or less dependent completely on electricity. Right now, the class that we are conducting, right, on Zoom. Okay, so for that, all of you must be logged on to your mobile phones. I am also using my cell phone, right? Others, some of them might be using their laptops, right? So for these devices to work, you need to charge them up. And for that, we need electricity, right? Also, you have lots of appliances at your home like computers, televisions, refrigerators, washing machines, fans, right? So all of them, they require constant supply of electricity. Okay, so to avoid inconvenience due to power failure, hospitals, banks, and offices are equipped with backup power generators. Now, as I am mentioning, you need a constant 24-hour supply of electricity for all of these appliances to work, right? But there are certain aspects where you cannot switch off the electricity. Just for example, in hospitals, or say, for example, in banks and ATMs, right? So there you cannot switch off, or there has to be a constant uninterrupted power supply. So at these locations, you have backup power generators, right? Let us see. You have something like a diesel generator, right, which uses diesel fuel, or in some cases, it might also use kerosene or petrol. So these diesel generators, they are for backup. So in case if there is a breakup in the electricity, if there is no electricity, right, then those backup generators can be turned on and they can be used to generate electricity for the constant use. You can see there are hospitals, right? And hospitals, they do need 24-hour electricity, right? Because there might be some serious patients who need constant devices to monitor their health. Okay, so as you can see here, you have banks, hospitals, offices. So they have a maintained, they have constant electrical supply by these backup diesel or backup electricity generators, right? Now let us also just go through briefly some of the domestic appliances that require constant electricity source, right? Say, for example, the fan that we have in our homes, then we have a microwave oven, right? Then you may have a mixer grinder, right? Mixer grinder is a very common appliance that your mother must be using every day to prepare food, right? Then you almost have, then all of us have refrigerators at our homes, right? To keep food fresh. Okay, then you have you also have vacuum cleaners to clean our homes. Then we also have washing machines for cleaning the clothes, right? So all of these are some of the examples of devices that use electricity. Okay, then let us move further. Now there are also certain examples where animals, right, animals make use of electricity. Now there are certain glands in those animals which happen to generate electricity. Okay, so some animals also make use of electricity. Now fishes such as eels use electricity to catch their prey and also for self-defense. Now these are very intelligent creatures, these eels, right? So these eels, when they have to catch their food, what they do is they generate an electric shock for a very tiny fraction of a second. right? And that tiny electrical shock stuns the prey that they're catching, and then they can eat those small fish. Now, in case, say for example, a bigger fish is trying to eat those eels, then what they do is they again generate a very tiny shock, right, to the predator, the bigger fish, and that the predator, the bigger fish will be scared away and it will just run off. Okay, so those eels can they do make use of the electrical power or electricity generated through their glands to either catch food or to protect themselves from bigger fish, that is the predators. Okay, then there is also an example of electricity in nature. Now, right now we have the monsoon season. Right now, during this season, you have big thunderstorms, and during those thunderstorms, you may have seen a lightning strike. Okay, now lightning strikes are one of the most powerful phenomena that exist on the earth. Okay, so the lightning that strikes the earth during thunderstorms is an excellent example of natural flow of electricity. Right now, if I may tell you, a lightning strike, when it takes place, there is about 3 to 5 lakh volts of electricity that gets transferred, right? Sometimes even up to a million volts. Okay, but the problem here is that electrical spark or that electricity flows for a very, very, very tiny fraction of a second. Okay, it is not continuous source. It is a very tiny, it is that shock or that lightning bolt, that thunder, the thunder is called a sound. Means the sound that is coming off from the lightning is called as thunder. Okay, so that electrical spark which takes place in the atmosphere, it exists for a very, very tiny fraction of a second, right? So that is a problem, we cannot harvest it. Okay, so what we say, what if we can collect and store this electricity? As of now, we do not have any technology that can store this electricity or electrical energy from the lightning. Okay, why? Because it is for a very tiny fraction of a second, and the biggest problem is you cannot find the location where the lightning is going to strike. Okay, now it is a very random, the lightning will strike at very random places. Okay, there. Now, the most important concept that we are learning now is about potential and potential difference. Okay, so all of you must have seen a waterfall, right? Now, which way does the water flow? Now, you may tell me that water will always flow from a point of a higher level to a point of lower level. So in a waterfall, water always falls from the top of a cliff to the bottom, right? So the direction of flow of water depends on the level of the 2 points. Now, when water is stored at a higher level, it has a higher potential energy. So, and the water will always go from a point of higher energy to a point of lower energy. So when it falls from the waterfall, it goes from a higher point to a lower point. In that case, the potential energy that is stored in the water is converted into kinetic energy as the water falls down. Okay, so water always flows from a higher level to a lower level. As in this diagram, you can see the water here is falling from a cliff, right, and into that lagoon or into that lake at the bottom. Okay, then now let us try to understand the concept of potential with the example of the hydroelectric power station. Okay, now lots of lakes are constructed or lots of dams are constructed on rivers. Now, the location of those dams are selected appropriately so that we can have a big water reservoir behind the dam. Okay, so for the generation of electricity, water is released from a dam at a higher level, and due to gravity, it flows to the lower level. Now, this is a diagram, a typical diagram of a dam. Now, you can see on the left hand side, you have a very tall wall which is constructed using a concrete generally. There are also earthen dams which are just made up of compacted soil. But in this case, we will see that there is a big concrete wall that is constructed at a suitable location on the river. Okay, so water will start collecting behind the dam and the level will rise and there will be a big lake that will be created. Okay, now within the dam, there is a big pipe from which the water under very high pressure from the reservoir, the lake, will flow into a turbine. Okay, so what will happen is when the very high pressure water will flow to the turbine, it will just rotate, right? The turbine is just like a fan. Okay, so the turbine will start rotating. Okay, and then that rotational energy is transferred to a generator, right? So here that generator will convert that energy of the rotating turbine into electricity. Okay, so in this case, you can see the water on the left hand side is at a higher level, right, shown by that red line. And then finally that water ends up into the river on the right hand side at a lower level. So here you can see the water will transfer its potential energy as it flows at a very high speed to the turbine. right? So the energy will be transferred to the turbine. The turbine will rotate, and then that rotational energy will be converted into electrical energy, which will be transmitted through transmission lines to us. And then that is how we will make use of it in our everyday life. Okay, then. So let us further try to understand in detail the concept of potential difference. Okay, now just like water, the flow of electric charge between 2 points depends on the kind of electric level at those points, and this is called as potential difference. Now, when you have any electrical circuit, there are two terminals. Okay, now that one terminal is at a higher electrical potential and the other terminal is at a lower electrical potential. The electricity will always flow from a point of the higher electrical potential to a point of the lower electrical potential. Now this is shown with the help of a diagram here. Okay, now here you can see the yellow colored plate, okay, which is shown by the positive symbols, right? And at the bottom you have that red colored plate which is shown by the negative symbols or negative sign, right? So the positively charged object is considered to be always at a higher electrical level, and the negatively charged terminal is considered to be at a lower potential, right? So the difference between the potential is termed as electrical potential. And remember, electricity will always flow from a point of higher potential to the lower potential. So in this case, when you connect those two terminals, means when you connect the yellow plate to the red plate with a wire, with a conducting material, any metal, what will happen? The electricity will start flowing from the yellow plate to the red plate as shown by the red arrow over there. Okay, then let us further understand. Now, electricity flows due to the conduction of negatively charged electrons. Okay, now when we say that electricity flows, exactly what is flowing, right? So in that material, in that conductor, means the metal wire, inside that wire, electrons are flowing, right? Now you may have learned that electrons are negatively charged, right? So any electron which is negatively charged will be attracted towards the positively charged terminal. So electricity will flow from, as we have studied previously, from a positive terminal to the negative terminal. But the electrons which are negatively charged will flow from negative terminal to the positive terminal. So whenever you consider any electrical circuit, there are two types of currents. One is called as the conventional current, right, which flows from positive terminal to negative terminal, and the other, which is electronic current, where we are considering the flow of electrons, which will flow from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. So as we can see here, it is mentioned electrons flow from a point of lower potential, that is negative terminal, to a point of higher potential, that is a positive terminal. So as you can see in this diagram, we have these two conductors, that is conductor A, the red colored one or the pink colored one, which is shown by the positive symbol. And on the right hand side, we have the conductor B, which is a negatively charged conductor, right? So the positive terminal we consider always to be at a higher potential, and the blue terminal, the negative terminal, is considered to be at a lower potential. Okay, so when you conduct these two, when you connect these two with a conducting wire, what will happen? The electricity will flow from the red conductor, the positively charged conductor, to the blue conductor, which is negatively charged. But if I consider the flow of electrons, the electrons will flow in the opposite direction. That is from the blue terminal to the red terminal, means from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. Okay. Then let us now discuss about the potential difference of a cell. Now you might be aware of a cell. We make use of this cell, as you can see in the diagram and on the bottom right hand side. Right now, these cells we use make use of these in your toys, or maybe your remote controllers of your televisions, right? So you might be aware of these of these cells. Now these cells have a positive terminal and a negative terminal. Okay, so the difference in potential between the positive and negative terminals of a cell is called as a potential difference of that cell, means the electrical potential difference. Okay, now this potential difference is caused by the chemical reactions occurring inside the cell. Now inside the cell, there are certain chemicals which are stored inside. Okay, now when those chemicals react with each other, what they generate are electrons, and those electrons are made to flow from the negative terminal to the positive terminal, and thereby they generate electricity. Okay, so the potential difference sets the electrons in motion and results in the flow of electricity through a conducting wire connecting the two terminals of the cell. Right. So when those electrons flow through the circuit, through the device, whatever it may be, a remote controller or a toy or whatever, that toy or that remote controller will work when those electrons will flow through the circuit. Okay. Then next is what? The concept of unit of potential difference. Now, the potential difference may be high or may be low, right? So we need to measure that electrical potential. Okay, if it is a high potential difference, we have to measure it 5, 10, 15, 20, right? Whatever it may be. Okay, so there has to be a unit, just like we have unit for length, that is meters, 5 meters, 10 meters, 20 meters. Just like that, we need to measure electrical potential. Okay, so the amount, for that we need to scientifically define the concept of electrical potential, right? So let us see the amount of work done to carry a unit positive charge from point A to point B is called as the potential difference. Now remember, when we have studied the concept of potential difference, the electrons were moving from a point of lower potential to a point of higher potential, right? So electrons are very tiny particles. So if they are moving, we need to have some force, right? And when we apply force and an object moves, we say that work is said to be done. Okay, so let us define. So potential difference between 2 points is equal to work divided by the total charge transferred, right? So potential difference is measured in the units of volts. It is called as voltage. We measure it in terms of volts. Okay, so the volt is a unit for measuring potential difference. So V is equal to W upon Q. In this case, W is the work done divided by Q, which is the unit for charge. Okay, so when we convert it into the SI units, SI means the standard international unit or international standard unit. Okay, so international standard unit for voltage is just volt, V, capital V. So 1 volt is equal to 1 joule divided by 1 coulomb, right? Now in this case, joule is a unit for work and coulomb is a unit for charge. Okay, so the SI unit of potential difference is volt. You need to remember this. Okay, then now let us try to understand the concept of a free electron. Now when we are talking about electricity, when it is flowing, right? So we say that electrons are flowing from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. Now the question arises, where are those electrons exactly coming from? Right now, so there must be a question. कि ये electrons कहाँ से आते हैं? Right? So you must have learned in the previous standards that substances are classified broadly into 2 types, which are conductors and insulators. Broadly, there are semiconductors also, but we won't talk about that. So if you talk about conductors, right? So who are these conductors? Generally metals. Okay, so metals are substances which conduct electricity. Okay, so just now we learned that for electricity to be conducted, you need electrons to flow. That means the metals which are conducting electricity, they must be generating electrons or they must be giving electrons. Okay, so let us study. So every atom of a metallic conductor has 1 or more outermost electrons which are very weakly bound to the nucleus. They are called free electrons. Now, metals, the elements which are called metals, they have a very specific property. Okay, so you must be aware of the structure of the atom. You have the nucleus in the center, and then you have the electrons going around in your circular orbits. Okay, now in metals, the electrons which are present in the outermost orbits, they are very loosely held by the nucleus, right? So they can be removed very easily. Okay, so these electrons which can be removed, they are called as free electrons. Okay, so these electrons can move freely from one part of the conductor to the other parts. The negative charge of the electrons get transferred as a result of this motion, right? So these free electrons are the carriers of the negative charge. Now, if you look at the diagram at the bottom, you have the nucleus in the center and you have these electrons going around the nucleus in the circular orbits. Okay, so as you can see, the electrons, which are the outermost electrons, they are very weakly held by the nucleus. So you can remove them. When you have lots and lots and millions of these atoms in a metal piece, what will happen? Each of those atoms can lose that electron, and hence those electrons can move. Okay, So let us now talk about how those electrons exactly move. Okay. Now, when a conducting wire is not connected to a cell, conducting wire means the piece of the metal. Okay. So when that conducting wire is not connected to a cell, its free electrons move randomly in all directions in the space between the atoms. If you look at the diagram here, that red dot represents an electron. Consider that red dot to be an electron. Okay. And that square, that the rectangular shape to be the metal piece. So as you can see, the arrows are showing the diagram, the directions in which the electron is moving. As you can see, the electrons are moving completely randomly. यहाँ से वहाँ हर एक direction में वो electron जा रहे हैं. Okay. When we connect the ends of the wire to the two terminals of a cell. Now, which two terminals are there in a cell? There is a positive terminal and a negative terminal. So when we connect the two ends of this metal plate to those two conductors, to the two terminals of the cell, an electric force acts on the electron. Okay, electrons being negatively charged start moving from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. If you look at the diagram in the next page, look at the diagram here. We have the same piece of the metal, right? And when we connect it to the cell, right? Now at the bottom, you have the diagram of a cell. Okay, now cell is shown by two vertical lines. One line is longer and the other line is shorter. Now, longer line is a positive terminal and the shorter line is a negative terminal. So when you connect these two terminals to the end of the to the ends of the metal plate, right? What will happen? The electron will start flowing from the negative side to the positive side because electrons are negatively charged, right? So you can see the direction of flow of electrons shown by the arrow at the top. But look at the arrow shown towards the bottom part of the diagram, direction of flow of electric current. Electric current flows from positive terminal to negative terminal, but electrons flow from negative to positive terminal. Okay. Okay. So, so due to the flow of these electrons, current starts to flow through the wire. This motion of electrons is irregular, but there is a definite net zero value to their average velocity. Means even though the electrons are moving randomly, but overall they move from the negative end to the positive end. Okay. Then now let us talk about further electric current. Now an electric current is a flow of electrons through a conductor, as we have just learned. Okay. Now electrons in a conductor Yes, excuse me for that. Can you hear me? Mayur sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can hear me, na? Okay, okay.
Yeah, yes.
Sorry. I just had a call in between. Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh.
Yeah. So let us further talk about an electric current is a flow of electrons through a conductor. So electrons in a conductor move from the negative terminal to the positive terminal, whereas conventional current is taken to flow in the opposite direction, that is from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. Now, if you look at this diagram, there are arrows in the two directions, right? Now, there is one arrow which is shown on the conductor, that is on the black line. Now, here the black line represents what? The conductor. Now, if you look at that arrow on the line, which is the flow of conventional current, you can see it is going in the clockwise direction. Now, it is going from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. That means from A to B, right? But if you look at the bigger arrows, which are shown outside, okay, they are going from B to A, right? Which is the direction of flow of electrons. Okay, so you need to understand this concept that the conventional current flows from the positive terminal to the negative terminal, whereas the electronic current means the electrons, they flow from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. Okay, it is a very important concept. Okay, then let us now further define electric current. Okay, remember, voltage, potential difference is different and current is different. Okay, students sometimes get confused between these two concepts, right? So potential difference is what? It is difference in electrical energy between the two terminals of a cell. Okay, let us now learn about electric current. Now, electric current I, the symbol for electric current is I. the symbol for voltage V, potential difference is V. Okay. Now, electric current I is defined as a charge passing through a conductor in unit time. If a charge Q is flowing through a cross section of a conductor in time t, then current I is equal to Q upon T. In short, electric current means how fast electrons are moving. Means from a given point, मतलब अगर आपने एक कंडक्टर पे एक पॉइंट पकड़ा तो उस पॉइंट से कितने इलेक्ट्रॉन्स पास हो रहे हैं, right? So it completely depends on the type of the current, type of the wire that you're using. Okay, so let us define again. Electric current I is defined as the charge passing through a conductor in unit time. So if a charge Q is flowing through a cross section of a conductor in time t, then current I equals to Q upon T, where Q is a charge flowing and T is a time that you're considering. Okay, then let us now talk about a unit of electric current. The SI unit of charge is Coulomb. The charge on one electron is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 Coulomb. So a single electron is a very, very, very tiny charge. Okay. The SI unit of electric current is an ampere A, right? So unit of electric current I is ampere. Okay. So 1 ampere current is said to flow in a conductor if 1 Coulomb charge flows through it every second. Now let us go back to the formula. I equals to Q upon T. Okay. So unit for I is what? Ampere. तो वहां पे हम लोग 1 ampere लिखेंगे in place of I. Unit of Q is charge. Q is charge. And unit of charge is Coulomb. And time T. Unit for time T is second. SI unit is second. So if you represent these all in that formula, I equals to Q upon T, you get 1 ampere equals to 1 Coulomb upon 1 second. Or you can say 1 ampere current is said to flow in a conductor if 1 Coulomb charge flows through it every second. Okay, that is the unit of electric current, which is ampere. Okay, then let us go through that example. Now let us go through a numerical example. Okay, so a current of 0.4 amperes flows through a conductor for 5 minutes. Okay, so they have given you the value of current I equals to 0.4 amperes, and they have said that it flows for 5 minutes. How much charge would have passed through it, through the conductor? So we have to calculate the value of Q. So first of all, whenever you are solving or writing any numerical, first you have to take down or write down the given part of the numerical. Means whatever variables which are given. So in this case, the first given is I, that is current. I equals to 0.4 amperes, right? Then the time that they have given is 5 minutes, right? Now we have learned the unit for time is what? Seconds. So we need to convert that time in minutes into time in seconds. Now we are quite aware that 1 minute equals to 60 seconds. So 5 minutes will be 5 into 60 seconds. That equals to 300 seconds, right? Then the formula for current I was equal to I equals to Q upon T, right? What we need to calculate here? The value of Q, that is charge. So if you rearrange that formula, I equals to Q upon T, we get Q is equal to I into T. Okay, so we know I, the value of I is 0.4 amperes multiplied by the time, that is 300 seconds. So Q we get as 120 coulombs. So therefore, charge passing through the conductor is 120 coulombs. Okay, so now let us briefly again revise all of the contents that we have learned today. We are going to briefly revise whatever things that we have learned today. Okay, so we know electricity is of utmost importance to us. We depend on electricity for almost each and every activity that we do in our day-to-day life. Okay, okay. So because we are completely dependent on electricity, we need to ensure that it is there continuously. Okay, so to avoid inconvenience due to power failure, we have something called as a electrical generator, which is there for backup power, right? So those electrical generators, they generally run on diesel fuel. Okay, but they may also use kerosene or petrol. Okay, so those diesel generators are generally located outside of banks or hospitals or some offices, right? So they can just turn on the diesel generator when there is a power cut. Okay, and so that they can have continuous electrical supply. Okay, then the certain or some examples of domestic appliances are fans, ovens, mixer grinders, washing machines, vacuum cleaners, refrigerators. You can also have your own list, right? So if you can go on adding, you can have computer, you can have laptop, mobile phones, right? You can have lots of other electrical appliances that you can make a use of, or you can make a list of those electrical appliances as a homework. Okay, then we have seen animals making use of the concept of electricity. Example was that of eel, right? So the eels, they have certain glands in their bodies, right? So these glands generate a very tiny electrical potential. Okay, so when they have to catch the prey, when they have to catch the food, what they can do is they can give a very tiny shock to that a small fish, and then they can go and eat that fish. Okay, but if there is a big fish or a larger predator which is trying to eat the eel, what they can do is they can scare away the larger predator by just scaring it, by generating a very tiny shock. Okay, then we have also the example of electricity in nature, where you have seen lightning during a thunderstorm. Okay, so here the lightning strike can generate millions of volts of electricity, right? But as of now, we cannot have any technology to harvest that energy. Okay, then we learned about the concept of potential difference, right, with the help of an example of a waterfall. So in a waterfall, the water will always flow from a point of a higher level to a point of a lower level. Okay, then we have seen the concept of hydroelectric power station, where we have a dam, and behind that dam, what happens? The water starts collecting and the height of the reservoir increases, right? And then through that dam, we have certain pipes which transfer that water at very high pressure to those turbines. Those turbines will start rotating, and then they will convert it into electricity. So in this case, what has happened? The water has gone from a higher potential energy to a lower potential energy. So that energy is transferred to the turbine, which converts it into electrical energy. Okay, then now in terms of proper electricity, we know that we have always two terminals. One is a positive terminal and one is a negative terminal, right? So in the concept of a potential difference, one terminal is at a higher potential, the other terminal is at a lower potential. Okay, so the positive terminal is a terminal at higher electrical potential, and the negative terminal is a terminal at the lower electrical potential. And electricity will always flow from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. Okay, this is about conventional electrical flow. Okay, then electricity flows due to the conduction of negatively charged electrons. Right now, if you have those two terminals, the positive terminal, which is shown by the red color, negative terminal is shown by the blue color. When you happen to connect these two terminals, what will happen? Electricity will flow from the red terminal, which is at a higher electrical potential, to the blue terminal, which is at a lower electrical potential. Okay, whereas electrons will flow in the opposite direction, that is from the negative terminal to the positive terminal, which we had learned, right? So in the case of a cell, inside the cell, what do we have? There are certain chemicals which are stored inside, right? Now when those chemicals come in contact with each other, they react and they generate electrons, and these electrons are the ones who cause the electricity to flow. Okay, so difference in potential between the positive and negative terminals of a cell is the potential difference of the cell. Okay, this potential difference is caused by the chemical reactions occurring inside the cell. So the potential difference sets the electrons in motion and results in the flow of electricity through a conducting wire connecting the two terminals of the cell. Okay, then we had seen the unit of potential difference, which was volt, and we learned that 1 volt equals to 1 joule upon 1 coulomb. Okay, and the formula for volt, V is equal to W upon Q. That means the work done divided by the total charge transferred. Okay, and 1 volt equals to 1 joule upon 1 coulomb. You need to remember this. Okay, then we learned about the concept of free electrons, right? So every metal, right, inside it has an electron, one or more electrons, which are revolving around the nucleus, right, which are very loosely held. Those electrons can be removed very easily. Okay, so in any metal piece, those loosely bound electrons are the ones who cause the electricity to flow. Okay, now when you imagine a metal, and when you look at a metal, there can be millions and millions of atoms in a piece of a metal, and each of those atoms can give away one electron, one or more electron. Okay, so when you look at a metal piece which is not connected to a source of electricity, what will happen? there will be millions and millions of electrons which are just moving around randomly. वो just यहाँ से वहाँ ऊपर नीचे left right वो जा रहे हैं. Okay, because there is no such electrical potential applied. But when you connect it to a source of electricity, just like a cell, what will happen now? The electrons which are negatively charged will get attracted towards a positive terminal, and the electron will start moving from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. This is a very important concept. Okay, so as you can see, the direction of flow of electrons in this case is from the right hand side to the left hand side. Okay, that means from the negative terminal towards the positive terminal. But the direction of flow of electric current is from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. That is from the left hand side to the right hand side. Okay, that is what we saw in this example in the case of electric current, right? So the conventional current is always shown on the wire, as you can see here by that block arrow, the red colored block arrow which is shown, right? The flow of conventional current. Whereas the electrons, the flow of electrons is shown outside in the form of a small arrow. Okay, so you need to be aware of the directions in which the conventional current flows and the direction in which the electronic current flows. Okay, then we also saw the definition of electric current, right? So electric current I is defined as the charge passing through a conductor in unit time. Okay, so the formula for current will be I equals to Q upon T. Okay, this is a very important concept, right? So if you have a charge of Q that is flowing through a cross section of conductor time T, then we can say I is equal to Q upon T. Then we also defined the unit of current, right? That was ampere. Okay, so the unit of charge in SI units is Coulomb, given by capital C. The charge of one electron, which is very, very tiny, is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulombs. It's a very, very tiny charge. But as I've told you, in a simple piece, in a small piece of metal, there are millions of atoms, right? And when those millions and millions of atoms, they combine together and give one electron each, it will result in a large charge. Okay, so let us talk about it further. So the SI unit of electric current is ampere, given by capital A. Okay, and 1 ampere of current is said to flow in a conductor if 1 coulomb charge flows through it every second. So the ampere is just how fast the electrons are moving. Okay, so 1 ampere equals to 1 coulomb upon 1 second, or you can say just 1 ampere is 1 coulomb per second. Okay, then we had seen that numerical in the end, right? So what we will do is we'll wrap up the class here today, and then in the next class we will discuss further about the concepts of electricity. There we are going to learn about the further concepts like connection in series, connection in parallel, the various ways in which you have your circuit diagrams drawn, right? Okay. Any student has any question? Yes, students. Yes, bolo, Kushnuma. Mayur sir.
Yes, sir.
Can the students unmute themselves and ask the question?
Yes, sir. Yes, Harsh. Harsh, unmute yourself.
सर तुम्ही 1 voltage equals to काय सांगितलं?
Sorry?
1 voltage equals to तुम्ही सांगितलं ना,
Yes.
ते जरा रिपीट सांगा ना. एक 1 voltage equals to सांगितलं ना.
Yes. Now see, listen carefully. Beta, what is the formula for potential difference? V is equal to W upon Q, right? Yes, Harsh, are you listening? Yes. So 1 volt is
Yes.
equal to, 1 volt is equal to work upon charge transfer, W upon Q. Okay. Okay. So unit for work is what? Joule. SI unit for work is Joule, given by capital J. Okay. And the SI unit for Coulomb, SI unit for charge is given as Coulomb. So you can write 1 volt is equal to 1 Joule upon 1 Coulomb. Okay.
Oh.
And the definition for voltage is what? The amount of work done when a unit charge is moved from one point to another point. That is, when a charge is moved from point A to point B. Okay, that is the definition of voltage. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Anyone else has to ask a question? Yes, students. Okay then.
Yes, sir. There is student. There is one
Yes.
student,
Hello,
Avinash Dubey. Yes, Avinash.
Sir, what is meant by earthquake?
Beta, I cannot hear you. Repeat again.
Yes,
Sir,
Avinash.
what is meant by earthquake?
Earthquake.
Yes.
Earthquake, beta, is when your earth starts to move very rapidly, right? Now, earthquake is not related to electricity, but okay. So what happens is, in geography, you might have learned that we have those plates, plate tectonics, right? Now, you have your African plate, you have your Eurasian plate, right? And they are moving around very slowly. Okay. So when there is a large pressure develop, what happens? They start vibrating. Okay. Okay. So earthquake is completely different, beta. Okay. Yes. Any other questions? Yes, students. Okay. So now your job, students, your work, your job will be to go through the textbook. You have to read it, right? And even if you have come across any further doubts, you can always ask it in the next class. Okay. Yes. Bolo Amit Jaiswar. Amit Jaiswar.
अमित अनम्यूट करो. नहीं, नहीं sir.
Okay, sir. So
Yes,
what we'll
sir.
do, we'll wrap up the class here. Student can always ask the doubts in the next class. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Good
Thank
day,
you,
everyone.
students.
Yes. Okay.
So students, इसी के साथ आज के लेक्चर्स हम यहीं पे वाइंड अप करते हैं. मिलते हैं टुमारो मॉर्निंग 8 o'clock. Goodbye.